Hi again, Mark here from Talkingbass. This week, after a few requests for some more slap action, I've got a quick little riff for you that should help with building your thumb, speed and stamina. It's a nasty one and it's pretty much all thumb, so strap yourself in. So, the riff sounds like this. So this riff is played with the thumb exclusively. It's in the key of E minor and it starts on an open E string. Now before you play that, before you play anything, you want to first get into what I call the home position. And any of you that have seen any of my slap videos before will know exactly what I'm talking about. It's where we work from this position of silence, and this is great for muting the strings. It's something that most players do instinctively after they've been playing for a while, but I've tried teaching it so that you can get down these ghost notes and the muting right from the start. So what you want to do is take your first finger and then lay it down over pretty much the A, D and G strings around the 2nd fret there. Okay, this is going to put us in position for the next few notes. So I'm not holding it right down, I'm just lightly holding it there so we kind of get ghost notes if I was to pick them. If I was here, we'd probably get harmonics, okay? So I'm just lightly holding it down, and then 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers, just lay those down right across the strings so that we have a completely muted bass, okay? So we're coming from this position of silence. So that's your starting point. So then all we have to do to get that open E string is raise the 2nd, 3rd and 4th fingers and slap the E. What happens there, because of the home position, is that we're muting the A, D and G strings. So it's pretty much what happens with the finger picking hand when we're picking across the strings and we move the thumb across to mute the lower strings. On this, we're actually muting the higher strings with that first finger. So we have the open E, and then we've got 2 ghost notes. Now, you know, a lot of the time people find ghost notes pretty tricky because they try to purposefully play ghost notes. They think, okay, well, I'm going to bring the hand down lightly and then play the ghost notes. But when you're using the home position, you don't have to think of that, because when you're in the home position, we get ghost notes when we slap. So all we're going to do is go ghost note, start in the home position, play the open E string, and then just go straight back to the home position for those 2 ghost notes. And that's it. So we've got, okay, and it's that 8th note, 2/16th note rhythm, ba 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 ba, that little gallop. So we've got. So just try that rhythm to begin with, just playing it on an open E. Okay, so that's what it's going to be when it gets faster, but slow. Okay, so I'm just in this home position. That first finger there is over that 2nd fret, and then we're just using this kind of flappy hand to come down to get those ghost notes. Next, we're going to play that same rhythm on the F sharp and the G, 2nd fret and 3rd fret on the E string, and this is going to be the same process. We're going to be playing with the first finger there. We're going to play the F sharp, the 2nd fret. So play there, and then we're back to the home position. So you want to instantly just release pressure on that first finger and drop these down, so everything is held down at the same strength, pretty much the same pressure. So just try it on the F sharp on that 2nd fret. Start slow, going between the fretted note and the home position ghost notes. And the way to think of this is that we're always thinking home position. If you can get used to that as your default position, you're just going back to it. So you get a muscle memory for what that is, and you just go back to it. So we have the F sharp, and then the G. So exactly the same on both. So 2nd fret, 3rd fret. Okay, so if we put all of that together. Okay, the next part of the riff sounds like this. So we've got a few ghost notes in there again. So again, we're always coming back to that home position. So first of all, we've got the A to the B there, hammer on, 5th to the 7th fret on the E string. And then we go straight back to the home position for the ghost note. Then we come up to play the same thing, 5th to the 7th fret on the A string, D to the E. Okay, so we play the hammer on, and then the ghost note. And then we have C sharp to the D, that popular funky little move that you get when you're in the key of E minor or E Dorian. And that's 4th fret to the 5th fret A string. So, okay, so if we put all of that together with the first part, and it's worth noting there that, and I've only just noticed this by playing it then, that after the B to the, the A to the B there, that hammer on the E string, I'm actually playing the ghost note on the A string, so that we lead nicely into the D to the E. So I'm not playing it on the E string. So all of the ghost notes there in that section are all on the A string. Okay, so slowly. The next section of the riff features a technique called cross hammering and sounds like this. So what we're doing here is using this cross hammer technique where we just hammer on a string out of nowhere. Okay, so we're not hammering after we've slapped or picked something on the same string. We're just hammering on out of nowhere, and we're mixing this in with those slaps. So we start slap there, 5th fret of the A string, the D. So then we cross hammer, we hammer on with the pinky there, the 4th finger, at the B, 7th fret of the E string. Okay, so that's the move. Slap on that D, the D there on the A string, and then hammer on the B. And you want to just get used to that move to begin with. Okay, so then after that, we slap the D again, so that's 5th fret of the A string, and hammer on to the E, the 7th fret. So then we move up to the G, 5th fret of the D string, and slap that. And then hammer on again, cross hammer at the E, 7th fret of the A string. Okay, so same move as we had down here, but up here. So then slap the D again, 5th fret of the A string, hammer on at the B, 7th fret of the E string. So we've got this cascading line as it comes down. Okay, so we get this nice little fluid run, and we're not having to slap every note. So that's the fill there. So you just want to get used to that very slowly to begin with, and get those cross hammers under your fingers. Now, one thing that will probably happen is that you'll start to get a little bit of noise here, some residual sound from the E string there. After you've played it and you're coming back up here, you can hear that we've got a bit of noise from the E string. So what you can do, there's two different methods here. You can either, after you've played that low B and you're moving up to here, you can bring the arm down so that you mute that E string. Okay, so it takes a little bit of accuracy there. You've just got to bring it down. So if I'm down here like this, or you can use the thumb of the fretting hand and bring that round. So we have, so we're just moving it round here to just hold against that E string and cut it off. So when you do that, you will have to play that run with the 1st and 3rd finger. So either way that works for you, really. I probably tend to do this more with the arm, but if you're used to bringing your thumb round a little bit more, especially with things like Marcus Miller with Run for Cover, that kind of thing, then this will probably seem second nature to you. So, okay. So now let's add that cross hammer line into our main riff, and it's worth mentioning that just before we play it, we actually have 2 ghost notes in there on the A string. So again, you've got to get back into home position. So let's have a listen to the riff slowly, okay? And I'll just run around it a couple of times. So. So start really slowly with this riff and work on it in those smaller sections, okay? So work on those in isolation until you've got them down, because it's pretty tricky getting between the ghost notes and then all the cross hammers, you know, if you're not used to slapping. So start out slow, and then once you've got it up to speed, it should sound a little bit more like this. So the second half of this riff is pretty much identical to the first half, but we have a variation on that cross hammer line. So instead of this, okay, we're going to have the same start there with the D cross hammer down to the B. Then we're going to have two ghost notes on the E string. So we get into home position again. And then we've got this hammer on from the G to the A, 3rd fret to the 5th fret of the E string. And that's our ending to the riff. Okay, so we get a lot of exercise there with the double slap there. So, okay, so that's part of the riff. Okay, so that's the second half. So now let's just combine both halves. So very slowly. Now, if you're new to slapping and you feel like you need some help with some of the techniques that I've mentioned in this lesson, just check out the Simple Steps to Slap Bass course over at Talkingbass. It's a step-by-step course that takes you from the absolute basics all the way through to advanced double thumbing and more. Those cross hammers and ghost notes that I've covered in this riff, they're all explained in the course in multiple dedicated lessons. So if you like the sound of that, just click on the link in the card or in the info below and go check it out. Now, in terms of speed and stamina and all of that stuff, the part of this riff that will probably seem the toughest is that 8th note to 16th note gallop, you know. That kind of rhythm. So you really want to be looking to bounce the thumb on this. So we're not looking to, you know, follow through with the kind of rest stroke slap, you know. We're really looking to bounce a la Mark King. So one thing that you can do if you're having any problems with really getting some speed into that action is to kind of use a whipping motion along the string. So you're kind of using that kind of action as opposed to staying static. You know, eventually you want to be able to, you know, do that because you don't want to be exerting too much energy. But you know, when you're getting started with that, that can sometimes seem to help for some people. So maybe that'll help for this. So use the bounce and just start out slowly and then just gradually build up speed. So this riff is a great exercise for developing your thumb stamina. First of all, you want to just get the notes under your fingers and then work up to roughly a tempo of about 130 beats per minute. Then once you have it up to speed, see how many times you can repeat it. It's a great warm up for the thumb, and after playing it round a few times, you'll feel like you've had a great workout. So at full speed, the riff sounds like this. Okay, so like this video, hit the bell and subscribe to the channel. Also visit talkingbass.net for hundreds of free lessons just like this one. They're all there on the lesson map, organized by topic for ease of navigation. So click the link in the info below and I'll see you next week.